All right, so I've been seeing a little bit of talk over on the main Discord server for Fish about something that I mentioned in my last live stream. Some people don't know if it's true or if it isn't, so I figured I'd cover a little more context on how I actually came up with this conclusion and what exactly to expect this weekend. So as I'm sure many of you already know by now, last week on Wednesday, and pretty much, I believe it was like 3 times last week, we did live streams trying to figure out the entire brick rod situation until finally we figured it out and that entire thing was over. But exactly 1 week from today, very briefly during that live stream, I mentioned something that was sent to me by the lead developer of the game right now, being Noah. Now, I've sort of gone ahead and sized down the entire conversation here so that way I'm not leaking out any other stuff here. But during the live stream, which was at 8:40 p.m., he sent me this picture right here that says, "Carbon has requested to be your Valentine." So I replied back with, "Ayo," and I was super confused because I didn't really understand what was going on. And then I briefly mentioned, "By the way, is this just for me to see, or is this something that I could pretty much show the entire stream and you guys could get a heads up on what's going on this weekend coming up?" And in his exact words were, "Nah, you can show it. I don't mind. I think it'd be funny," where then he says it'll be for next week, not this week's update. Reason he said that is because, like I said, this was mentioned on the 29th, which was Wednesday of last week. Obviously, that weekend we ended up getting the Orca update, so the weekend that he's referring to is this one that is now coming up. So then again, I also mentioned, "Can I say that during the stream?" And he says yes. Now here's the unfortunate reality. Besides that, we really don't know any other details about the Valentine's update. I know it's kind of unfortunate. I'm sure that you guys thought that I had some really juicy stuff, but sadly, we haven't gotten any more details. Aside from the fact that you will be able to apparently request me to be your Valentine. I don't know how it came up to that because I wasn't even in that game, so I'm not sure if I'm an NPC or what's going on here, but apparently I requested to be Noah's Valentine. Don't know at what point that happened, but it happened. Another thing that we do know for sure, which was posted actually last night during the randomest time of the day, which technically is not last night, it was more like yesterday in the afternoon. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we got a look at some of the changes that Kiwi is going to be making to the Ride of the Depths ghost, which is kind of random. I don't really know why this is happening, but apparently the actual ghost will be able to do a lot of the things that you do, including dance. So any of the emotes are mimicked by the ghost. So I mean, to a certain extent, that's pretty cool. Don't really know why this was necessary, but I'm not mad about it. I've tried to do more searching around to see if I could find anything else that maybe they mentioned briefly, which would be coming this weekend, but I wasn't able to really find anything else. So as far as this weekend's update goes, that is pretty much all the information that I have as of the time that I'm recording this. Obviously, if we get more hints here and there on Thursday as well as on Friday, I'll do a follow-up video. But as far as this segment of this video, when it comes to the Valentine's update and what's happening this weekend, it's pretty much over. Moving forward now, I want to touch up on a couple of other little things that we actually recently got, which I've been seeing so many of you reach out to me about, telling me to make a video, which I have not gotten around to it. And a lot of that has to do with the rods, specifically the Atlantis rods. As you guys know, a lot of them got a pretty decent buff. Some of them did get nerfs, which I'd like to point out that I say some, but realistically what I am referring to is a seraphic rod. But I feel like at this point, that's kind of like old news. Everybody has just learned to accept it, and it is what it is. The nerf is pretty much here to stay. More specifically, what I'm referring to is things like the Poseidon rod. As you guys know, the actual passive ability on this was about 50% broken for pretty much the first week of Atlantis, and then most recently, it was sort of fixed, making it now an actual somewhat decent rod to use because of its passive ability. If you aren't aware of what it does, let me give you guys a quick rundown. So as you can see over here inside of the fish wiki, it says, when a fish is caught, this passive offers a 25% chance to directly reward the user with 75% of the fish's base value in cash. Using the Atlantean storm over here as an example, basically, as you're casually fishing, there is a 25% chance that you will receive 75% of the value of whatever fish it is that you're catching that pretty much triggers it. But here's sort of the catch about it. You really won't know when it's happening unless you have your audio turned on, because it sort of gives you the money while you're in the middle of the animation of catching the fish. So basically, as soon as I go ahead and hook the fish, right now is technically when I would be receiving the money. So obviously, you won't exactly see it, but if you have your audio turned on, you'll clearly hear the money being added into your pretty much total. So for example, right now we're at 765,948. Let's go ahead and cast it out now and see if we get lucky here. which, yep, we did. And as a matter of fact, we also got the Poseidon ghost to spawn there. So technically, this should come out as a big king's blessing. So that's pretty much the secondary one right there. So if you notice, we're now at 766,633. So you guys kind of saw both of the passives right there. So if you notice in my inventory, this is now a big king's blessing typhoon tuna, which I mean, looks sick already as it is. But now going back, let's go ahead and also go over the second portion, since you guys just went ahead and saw that, which is additionally, when catching a fish, the user will have a 5% chance for Poseidon's ghost to spawn. This will give the fish a higher weight ranging from a 75 to a 150% increase. And this will also give the fish a King's Blessing mutation. Now, unfortunately, as you can see right here, King's Blessing is only a 1.5x value, so it's not really too crazy, especially when you take into consideration the fact that it's only a 5% chance for this to even happen. But on the flip side, you also need to take into consideration the fact that it does increase the size of it. So in conclusion, does this make the Poseidon rod any better than it was before? Not exactly. It really isn't that great of a rod. Yes, you can make probably an absurd amount of money if you do something like macro or something like that. I mean, not that I'm trying to condone it or anything. It's just that realistically, it's sort of a really good passive way of making a lot of money because you're just fishing and sort of printing out money. 25% chance is actually pretty common. But anyways, aside from that, there was also another rod that everybody was just sort of on the edge of their seat to get fixed because there was a potential that it could be one of the best ones, being Zeus's rod. This one right here has pretty terrible stats. I mean, they're not exactly terrible, but they're not really the best ones in the world. But the selling point for a lot of people was the passive ability on this. It says each catch offers a 10% chance to turn the nearby area into a thunderstorm. I showed you guys this before, but I'll show it to you guys again. Inside of this thunderstorm, it will double the effect of shakes. It'll increase your luck for mythical fish, and it'll 95% chance mutate the fish to electric shock mutation, with the remaining of the 5% being a charred mutation. If you remember previously, I told you guys that the electric shock mutation was not exactly selling for the correct price, but now it seems to be selling at 3.5x, which is really good, while charred on the other hand is only selling for a 0.5x. So let me see if I can really quickly here trigger basically the thunderstorm so I can show you guys what that looks like. And in the meantime, I want to tell you guys what sort of like the downside is right now. So apparently a lot of people are saying that the luck portion of this is not exactly working, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really used the Zeus rod that much to really give my opinion on it as far as how good or bad it is. As a matter of fact, tonight I will more than likely be using this for an extremely long period of time just so that I can get a general feel for it. Because I feel like even just briefly using it is not enough to sort of say like, hey, look, you know, the luck is not working. But let's assume that the luck isn't working right now and this weekend they decide to fix it. Zeus's rod might actually become one of the best money-making rods that isn't sort of tied behind a level or isn't sort of tied behind... Oh, well, perfect. Look at it right there. We just got it right there. But yeah, as I was saying, it'll be one of the best ones not tied behind a level or any type of crafting or even RNG like the Auric rod. But anyways, if you guys notice, there is a purple circle now around this entire area, which means that we've gone ahead and triggered the thunderstorm exactly where we wanted it. Every single fish that we fish out of here now is either going to have electric shock or it's going to have charred. So if you notice right there, we got ourselves an electric shock cyclone mako. It's fairly easy to tell because you'll obviously see the electric shock coming off of the fish right here in the water. But if you notice, I think this is the reason why a lot of people are saying that the luck is not exactly working, because you don't really feel any type of a difference. It feels the exact same as if you were fishing without the thunderstorm. In something like the Atlantean pool, assuming that the luck was working for an increase to the mythicals, you should be pretty much getting mythicals just about every single time. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that the fish pool is extremely small in Atlantean and there's no crates whatsoever here. I'm also kind of noticing right now that for some reason, I'm still getting the ghost. I don't know if anybody has noticed that, but I've gotten the ghost 2 times already from the Poseidon rod. So I'm sort of curious and kind of concerned right now whether the ghost is sort of bugged and as soon as you get it one time, it just keeps getting you with every other rod. Maybe I'm just not understanding here and that's just an animation that's shared with the Zeus rod. Because if we come over here, none of the fish that I've caught electric shock so far are kind of like overly weighted or anything like that. None of them are big or giant. So I feel like that just may be some type of an animation bug or something like that. Well, technically this one over here does have it. Dude, there's no way that the actual Poseidon ghost continues to come out afterwards. That would be kind of insane. Did I just accidentally discover a bug while recording? Yeah, look, there it goes again. Wait, What? I need to double check that fish. Let's see if that fish has a higher weight than usual. No, it doesn't. It's just regular weighted. Okay, so I think it's just a visual bug thing. So don't go ahead and get too excited, chat. Either way, the point of this is that I'm hoping that the luck on the Zeus rod gets revisited, because if it does, next week we could be seeing some complete meta shifts here, at least when it comes to making money. As mentioned before, man, a lot of you wanted me to go ahead and cover this stuff, so I figured I'd squeeze it into this video closer to the end. In case anyone mentions it, Kraken rod is still Kraken rod. It's doing its Kraken thing, you know? Nothing really too crazy there. Still isn't really that great of a rod, but I know that a lot of people do enjoy using it. I think out of the 3 that were introduced during the Atlantis to have passives, Zeus is the one that holds the most potential right now. Poseidon is good. Like I said, I don't really condone using macros, but let's face it, there is people out there that use them, and it's just the reality of it. So to you guys, that might be a good option. I don't really know. Maybe Seraphic will be better. Who knows? I don't really know, considering I don't macros, so there isn't really much I can say there. What I do know is that I'm going to be forwarding this whole entire situation going on here to the devs about the Zeus rod. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see something done with the luck. But with that being said, man, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you go ahead and start preparing yourself for the Valentine's update. As soon as I get any more information, I will let you guys know, I promise. At the current moment, it's just a matter of getting ready for it. Save up your money, save up those relics. You never really know what it is that the devs are going to throw at us this time. So it's just best to be prepared. And of course, subscribe to the channel so that way you know what's going on. With that being said, man, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.